My name is Ethan Cole. I am 34 years old. I make documentaries about places people don't fully understand. A methane lake in Siberia, a town in Australia where compasses have never pointed true north, a valley in Peru where sound behaves strangely. I'm not easily rattled. I want you to remember that. I'm also going to tell you that 3 months after we came back, I still have not deleted the recording. I've thought about it. I've moved it between folders. I've backed it up in 2 places like I'm protecting evidence of something, though I couldn't tell you what. Every few days I open the file and I listen to that particular section, the background ambience beneath our voices on day 1 when there were 3 of us setting camp, and I try to decide if what I'm hearing is what I think it is. 14 times now. That's where this ends up. Let me tell you how it started. The audio logs I'm about to share were recorded over what I believed was a 4-day period in a remote section of interior Alaska, a region locally referred to, somewhat dramatically, as the Alaska Triangle. Roughly 700,000 square miles of wilderness between Juneau, Barrow, and Anchorage. More people go missing per capita in this region than almost anywhere else in North America. Most are found, many aren't. The official explanations are reasonable: terrain, weather, poor navigation, exposure. Alaska swallows people who underestimate it. That's not a mystery, that's physics. I believed that when we landed. Audio log, Day 1, 11:04 a.m. Day 1, we touched down about 30 minutes ago. Aaron set us down clean, no drama, which I appreciated given how the clouds looked coming in. Marcus is already complaining about signal loss on the drone controller. Lena's pulling equipment cases. Weather is cold but clear, maybe 6 Celsius. Good light. The midnight sun makes everything feel slightly unreal, like the sky forgot to finish deciding what time it is. I don't hate it. This is exactly what I wanted. Aaron Pike had been flying bush planes in interior Alaska for 19 years. 51 years old, lean, spoke slowly, said almost communicates better. When we'd hired him through the outfitter in Fairbanks, he reviewed our planned coordinates, looked at me for a moment, and said, "Weather changes fast out there." I nodded. Of course it does. He said it again 2 days later. Same tone, same measured delivery. Not exactly a warning, more like a fact he needed to have on record before something happened. At the time, I thought he meant the weather. Marcus Hill had the drones up within an hour of landing. He was 29, confident the way people are when they're genuinely good at something, and funny in a way that kept the atmosphere loose. He'd worked with me on 2 previous projects. I trusted his eye. He narrated his work constantly, half to us, half to himself. Okay, bird 1 is up, getting a nice thermal over the tree line. Spruce forest all the way to the ridgeline. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. If something weird was going to happen somewhere, I'd pick this, aesthetically speaking. Dr. Lena Ward was already cross-referencing her magnetometer readings with baseline geological data. She was 41, meticulous, and had the particular calm of someone who has spent a great deal of time outdoors without incident. She believed, and I thought she was probably right, that the disappearances in the region had a mundane explanation, rooted in magnetic declination. Compasses in parts of interior Alaska can drift significantly. A hiker following a slightly wrong heading for hours ends up miles off course, disoriented, sometimes fatally. Not a mystery, geometry. Maya Rutherford was already framing shots. She was 36, relentlessly focused, and had a gift for finding the angle that made people keep watching. She pushed harder than I sometimes wanted to go, and I usually ended up grateful. This was our team, 4 of us, plus Aaron, who planned to stay nearby for the duration and be available for evacuation if weather turned bad. Everything was normal. I want to say that clearly, because what I'm about to describe doesn't feel normal in retrospect. But on day 1, everything was completely, thoroughly, unremarkably normal. Audio log, Day 1, 9:47 p.m. Longer day than expected. Good footage. Lena recorded a minor magnetometer spike about 2 kilometers northwest. She says it's consistent with known subsurface geology in the region. Nothing alarming. Marcus's primary drone glitched during the afternoon survey. About 4 seconds of dropped feed. Recovered clean. He's already annoyed about it. Aaron cooked dinner. Nobody said much tonight. The light outside is still this ambient gray gold, even at almost 10. It's disorienting in the most pleasant way. I think tomorrow's going to be productive. I should tell you about that glitch. At the time, Marcus chalked it up to interference, the same magnetic anomaly Lena had flagged. 4 seconds of dropped signal, then a clean reconnect. Standard enough. He reviewed the recovered footage later that evening while we ate, expecting to find nothing. He didn't mention what he found then. He waited 2 days, and when he finally told me, what he said was, in that 4-second gap, there are about 2 frames that came through before it cut. You can barely see it. Looks like the tent is already set up. Our tent. We hadn't set it up yet when he flew that first survey. We'd been on the ground less than an hour. He showed me the frames. They were heavily degraded, compression artifacts everywhere, and I told him what I believed. The drone had captured buffered footage from a prior flight, a file error, a glitch artifact. Cameras do strange things with dropped signals. That was my explanation, and I held on to it. Day 2 started well. Lena and I hiked north to map the area around the magnetometer spike. The spruce forest was dense and dark between the trunks, the canopy thin enough to let in the gray-white sky. Sound moved strangely in there. Not quite an echo, more like a slight delay between action and sound, as though the air were thicker than it looked. Lena noticed it too. She said it was likely temperature inversion, cold air trapped beneath warmer, bending sound waves back towards the ground. Reasonable, almost certainly correct. We were gone about 4 hours. When we came back, Marcus was sitting outside the tent looking at his drone controller. "How was it?" I asked. "Fine," he said. Quiet. "Get good footage?" A pause. Half a second, maybe a full second. "Yeah." I didn't push it. I should have. That evening, Aaron mentioned he heard something outside camp around 3 in the afternoon. Walking sounds. Slow. Unhurried. "Animal?" Maya asked, already reaching for her camera. "Probably," he said. "What kind?" He looked at her. Hard to say. He didn't seem frightened. Aaron didn't strike me as someone who frightened easily, but he didn't expand on it, and that night he moved his sleeping position to the tent entrance. I noticed. I didn't say anything. Audio log, Day 2, 11:22 p.m. Day 2 wrapping up. Good data from Lena's survey. The magnetometer anomaly is real, but within a range she considers explainable. Marcus has been quieter than usual. I assumed tired. Maya is pushing to extend the shoot by a day. She wants more atmospheric footage of the twilight hour. I'm considering it. Aaron seemed slightly off tonight. I'm probably projecting. I found something in this log recently that bothered me. The timestamp, 11:22 p.m., Day 2. I have no memory of recording it. I mean that precisely. I don't remember sitting down, pressing record, speaking those words. I remember the day, I remember eating dinner, I remember the conversation about extending the shoot, but I don't have a single image in my mind of making that log entry. No sensation of holding the recorder, no awareness of what I was looking at when I spoke. I've listened to the file many times now. That's my voice. Those are my words. The ambient background matches the camp exactly. Whatever was happening outside the tent that night, my voice sounds calm and slightly tired, and entirely like myself. I just don't remember being there. Day 3 is where things started to move. I woke up. The light never fully changed, so all of our schedules were governed by watches and hunger, and found Lena already up, sitting at the folding table with her notebook open. "Something wrong?" I asked. She wanted to show me something. She turned the notebook toward me. She'd been tracking our daily timestamps against her GPS data, cross-referencing audio logs, camera timestamps, watch times. These two intervals, between your log at 11:22 and my first GPS reading on day 3, that should be roughly 6 hours. Right. Yes, but all of them? Simultaneously? In the same direction? She was careful about it, not alarmed. Lena expressed concern the way she expressed everything, methodically, after she had already ruled out the obvious answers. I told her it was probably a sync issue and went to start coffee. She didn't argue. She just wrote something else in her notebook.
Day 4. Aaron is missing. We've reported it. Weather is holding us here. Marcus found footage that I can't immediately explain. Lena hasn't spoken much this afternoon. Maya is still filming everything, which I think is the right instinct. I feel there's a pause in the recording here. 11 seconds. I feel like I've been here longer than 4 days. My memory of that night is fragmentary in ways I can't fully account for. I remember arguing with Marcus. He believed I might have edited some of the drone footage, not maliciously, he said, but inadvertently while organizing project files. He thought I might have accidentally overwritten or duplicated something. I told him I hadn't touched his footage. He said, "Your log from day 2. I heard you play it back earlier." "Yes." "You played it back twice." "So?" "The second time was different. Same voice, same background ambient sound, but different words. I don't remember playing it back a second time. I only remember once." We checked the file together. One version. No duplicates, no alternate saves, nothing in the trash folder. Around midnight, the sky was that amber twilight that never fully darkened. Lena came out of the tent and said she'd been asleep, but woke up because she heard someone talking outside. We were all inside. "It might have been my audio log," I said. "No." She was very calm about it. "It was coming from outside, and it was..." She stopped. "What?" "More than one person." The 3 of us stood there for a moment. No wind, no birds. There hadn't been birds for 2 days. I hadn't consciously registered the absence until that moment, standing there in the amber half-dark, and the silence was so complete it felt like something with weight. No birds. We were evacuated on what I logged as day 5, though by then Lena was increasingly certain we had been there for at least 6 days, possibly 7. Her GPS data supported 7. My audio logs, counted linearly, supported 5. We could not reconcile them. The replacement pilot looked at us while we loaded the plane. "How are you all doing?" he asked. "Fine," I said. He looked at me for a moment longer than seemed necessary. "You look like you've been out here 2 weeks." Official search and rescue found no trace of Aaron Pike. His personal effects were recovered from the camp. His satellite phone was never located. The case remains open. His family declined to speak with us, which I understand completely. A geophysicist Lena contacted through her university reviewed her magnetometer data. He said the readings were consistent with normal regional variance. Slightly elevated, he said, but within documented parameters. Marcus went back to California. He called me once about 2 weeks after we returned. "Did you listen back to day 1? He asked. "Until some of it." "Listen to the part after Aaron left to check the plane, where it's just you and me and Lena setting up camp." I went back to the file. The 3 of us, setting up equipment, talking through the schedule. I could hear myself clearly. Lena asking about magnetometer calibration, Marcus griping about drone controller sensitivity. And underneath all of that, not in any gap or pause, not isolated, but woven steadily into the ambient background beneath our voices,
there was a fourth voice, speaking, calmly, speaking at a consistent level the whole time. I couldn't make out words, too low, too thoroughly mixed into wind through spruce branches, but the pattern of it was unmistakably speech, unhurried, continuous. I've sent the file to 2 separate audio engineers. Both confirmed the presence of a voice in the background. Neither could identify what it was saying. One suggested radio frequency bleed, a distant transmission captured by the equipment. That's a reasonable explanation. I'm still listening to it. It's been 3 months. My apartment, my own bed, friends, meals, ordinary mornings. My life is intact, and nothing has happened to me since we left. But I come back to the file. I play that section forward slowly. I try to hear what it's saying. I logged day 1 in that recording. I know precisely when it starts and when it ends. I know exactly who was there. 14 times now I've listened to that section, and every time I reach that stretch of ambient background underneath our voices, the low, continuous sound woven into the wind, I hear 4. I don't know who it is. I don't know if I'm hearing it correctly anymore, or whether 3 months of listening has started to manufacture the pattern I'm looking for. I don't know if by now I fully trust my own perception of events recorded nearly 4 months ago in a place where the sky never decided what time it was, and the compasses drifted, and the birds went silent, and a man's boots sat outside a tent in 2-degree cold without any explanation I've been able to hold on to. Maybe the isolation did something to all of us. Shared paranoia under prolonged environmental stress. There's substantial literature on this. Maybe the timeline confusion was fatigue. Maybe the footage anomalies were equipment artifacts. Maybe Aaron walked out into that wilderness for reasons that had nothing to do with us, reasons we'll never know. Maybe there's a fourth voice on that recording because someone was nearby, a hiker, a local, someone we never saw, and their voice carried on the wind, and the microphone caught it. These are the reasonable explanations. I believe in reasonable explanations. I'm in a warm, well-lit room right now. I'm going to play the recording one more time, that same section. Underneath the sound of 3 people going about ordinary work on an ordinary afternoon in a place where nothing had happened yet. Listen. Just listen. There. Did you hear it?